From Avion Technology in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency located in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. What do we do? We do websites and apps. So we do product incubation. We do websites and apps, and we work in Salesforce and Microsoft Business Central. So one of the things we do a lot is we work with a lot of small businesses, right? In two categories. So one client category of mine is a lot of smaller digital agencies whom we help scale up. The second category is a lot of small businesses that we do websites and apps and SEO for. So today's lecture is about something that worked for me. So my current series is all about things that have worked for me. One of my favorite tools to up my game is actually the Friday morning meeting. So small business is a lot like trench warfare, right? Running a small business is a lot like doing trench warfare. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat. There's a lot of grenades and shrapnels and bullets flying everywhere. If you've been doing that for 10, 15, 20 years, there comes a point where you get battle fatigue, right? You're just exhausted. A lot of mentors, a lot of coaches, a lot of social media stuff these days, they assume that resources like willpower, like motivation, like emotional energy, they're infinite, but they're not. I always give this cell phone analogy, right? Like, if you gotta use your phone tomorrow, you gotta charge it tonight, right? Otherwise, you get to that one bar situation where you see like that little bar, and and then you lose power. That's exactly how things are for entrepreneurs. If you're in a state of chaos, if you're fighting an uphill battle, if your business is in that death spiral where you're like really struggling hard to push the business to the next level, a lot of times running a small business can feel like pushing a boulder up the hill, right? A lot of times it can feel that you're fighting a lonely battle. One of the things about small business owners, and I meet a lot of them, and I'm one of them myself, and this is what we feel, is that we never knew this was how it was going to be when we started out, right? But we just got into it because we had a mountain peak that we wanted to scale up, because we wanted to get there and enjoy the view. Most of us were born in middle class families. Most of us went through some kind of adversity, either early in our lives or in our 20s. And so we had a dream. We had a burning ambition, and we knew that a corporate career or where we got a paycheck just would not take us to that mountain peak that we wanted to scale. At the same time, we do not have that innovator or that extreme risk taker DNA that some of these billionaires or multimillionaires, folks whose net worth is over 100 million have. So starting your own small business seemed like a very good, safe, smart risk kind of a way in which we could get to where we wanted to go, maybe in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever. However, what we did not realize back then is how exhausting running a small business can be. Burnout is real. People, especially owners, get burnt out for the reason that the buck stops at their desk, right? Every problem in the business is ultimately their problem, right? And if no one else can solve it, they are the ones who have to go in and solve it. And if you get days when there's problems, you will come to a point in your entrepreneurial journey when you're just tired, right? You just face so many problems, you just don't feel like waking up in the morning. This is actually one of the dirty secrets about being an entrepreneur, especially being a small business owner. that no one likes to talk about, right? Everyone, there's a million accelerators, there's a million incubators, and they all talk about, just the good things, right? They all talk about how you create all this wealth and you create all this value and you create, it's all nice, it's all beautiful. But every entrepreneur uh, goes through a time in their journey when they're burned out. And so today's lecture is about how you can. So I have seen that the more things get you by surprise, the more time it takes for you to get up on your feet back again. And if there's enough punches which land on you by surprise, there's a very good chance that you just get knocked out, right? So the battle really is this battle between being reactive and being proactive, right? In a reactive mode, there's problems kind of hitting you all the time and you're reacting to them on the fly. In the proactive mode, you've already kind of predicted what your problems are going to be, and then you already have a solution for that. And this is like stuff that they teach in like every business school or business incubator. But what are like the practical steps that you can do to make your business more proactive, right? So one of the things that I've realized that really helps me quite a bit is the Friday morning meeting, right? This is a variation of the Monday morning meeting, which I'm sorry, someone just called me. This is a variation of the Monday morning meeting that we see, that we've heard about in the corporate world, where everyone comes to work on a Monday morning and there's like a group meeting and all the things that you've got to finish that week. I just like to do that on a Friday for a couple of reasons. People are much more relaxed on a Friday, right? Number one. Number two, it kind of gives you Sunday evening. I have seen that whenever I start doing a little bit of my work on a Sunday evening, after dinner and after like everyone's gone to bed, I usually put in about half an hour to an hour's worth of work, because that gives me a tremendous head start for the rest of the week. So I would highly recommend this, the Friday morning meeting for sure. What are some of the components that you want to include in every week, right? I would highly recommend 6 hours of networking, right? Or it could be 6 hours of new business generation, but you gotta spend at least 6 hours in your week. I mean, most of us work like 50-60 hours. You gotta spend at least 6 hours putting yourself out there, whether that's through social media, whether that's through in-person events, whether that's through reach outs, whatever it is, your weapon of choice. Make sure you at least spend 6 hours a week doing that. Second, and this again a strategy that has worked really well for me. So our productivity throughout the day is not constant, right? We don't. It's not like we start in the morning and it just keeps going up. There's actually peaks and valleys as far as our productivity is concerned as well. I don't know how many of you have actually mapped your productivity. Like for me personally, I have this weird pattern where I have a very sluggish start to my day. So my productivity is actually not very high in the mornings. My best time is actually between 11 and 2, right? I usually have an early lunch at about 10:30, 11, and my best time actually happens between 11 and 2. That's when I get a lot of these things done. And I'm kind of medium productive like after 2 o'clock. So if I had to map out my productivity, right, my highest would be at 11, the intermediate would be at around 2, 3, and my lowest productivity is actually in the mornings. So the way I work around it is that I actually plan my most focused tasks around 11 o'clock. I do about 3 hours of learning every day, which is about an hour of Udemy and maybe an hour of reading Wall Street Journal, but I spend about 3 hours mastering my craft. And so that I usually do in the evenings. In the mornings are usually for meetings. I like to do half an hour meetings just because I think half an hour meetings are more productive, but usually with an agenda to them. So I follow this 9-hour work schedule with 2 breaks in between, one for lunch and one usually at around 2:33 for like a walk, or just learning a new language or something like that. So find out what works for you, right? Like I said, get out of this myth of thinking that the more hours you put in, the more successful you will be. In fact, I have personally noticed that the sweet spot is somewhere about 50 hours a week, between 50 and 55 hours a week. Anything less than that, and I've seen you're usually not putting in enough. Anything more than that, your productivity actually starts going down after hour 55. So 50 to 55 hours is usually when we are the most productive. So in a 5-day week, that kind of roughly translates into about 10 and a half hours every day. So this is again what has worked for me. I'll come to my last point, which is, if you've not heard of this amazing tool, it's called Trello. Please check it out if you're a small business owner. What Trello does is it helps you manage all your tasks, right? In all the different departments that you have. You'll probably have a finance department and HR, marketing, sales, delivery. Every department has some to-dos, right? And this tool has helped me stay sane, especially during the pandemic period, when everything was just chaos, and with work from home, and with the great resignation, things just flying around me. This is the tool that helped me stay sane. So if you're a small business owner, please check out Trello. It'll do you a world of good, because there's chaos on one side and structure on one side, right? And we ideally want to move our business more towards structure, more towards process, because that's how we can build repeatable kind of processes and scale up. The more chaotic your business is, the harder it is to build repeatable processes, and then the harder it is to kind of scale up. So this is a tool that is going to help you create those processes. So remember the Friday morning meeting. Plan your next week not on the Monday morning, but on Friday mornings, when you're more relaxed and you have less emergencies to attend to. See if you can plan your day around these 3 hours, in these 3 blocks, based on your own productivity cycle. And if you're a small business owner, definitely recommend seeing Trello. Trello is an awesome tool. It'll help you stay sane. It'll help you stay on top of all the problems, and it'll just reserve some of that emotional bandwidth. It will reserve some of that emotional energy that you need for the other things in your life, like your personal life, and time spent with your family, and time spent on your hobbies. Because though it's all about the hustle, though it's all about the wealth, it's all about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, there are some things in life that cannot be compromised. Family time, time spent taking care of loved ones, spending time with loved ones, taking care of your health. I think all of these things definitely have its place, and some of these things, if they go away, like for example your health, it's difficult to get it back. If you've not spent enough time with your kids, and now the kids have grown up, no matter what you will do, you will never get that time back with them. If you've been working all the time and not had time to spend with the missus, that time of your life is gone, right? So cherish those moments as well. All too often in our hustle, we forget that it's also the small things in life which count, and in fact those are the small things which recharge our batteries and get us ready for the next day. This is Chet here from Avion Technology with my little dose of wisdom. I hope you liked it, and if you like our content, hit the subscribe button. These are my coordinates. If you like our channel, send me an email. Love to talk. Thank you so much.